This here is my blank that I'd make for all my snowmen, whether they're eccentric or not. As a matter of fact, I have these. I have the individual pieces, walnut, and this is flaming box elder. But I make my snowmen all out of either flaming box elder or some highly spalted wood, usually maple. And I think these are 8 by 3 inches. And then my top is a little smaller, 3 inches by 2 3/4, something like that. So I already got like 50 of these drying for next year's snowmen. I start in advance, put them in my garage, because if it's maple, it'll spalt in my garage, sitting there for a year. And then box elder, usually I just keep my eyes and ears open, and at some point through the year, somebody's going to say, hey, anybody want some box elder? I got a whole bunch, and I'll go grab a couple of logs and cut up some box elder. When I put these together, just another little point, I always look at the ends of these logs. You got a camera there? Overhead camera? Okay, overhead camera. I'll look at the ends of these, and I'll find on the big piece which of these ends has the most figure in the middle, because that's where the head's going to be. And I want the head to have some figure on it. So I'll make sure, I'll look at both sides, and if one has no figure on it and the other side does, then that's going to be the top. That's where my head's going to be. Of course, this is a little offset, so unless I can get the head off to this side, I don't know if it'll have any figure on it. But I don't draw faces on my snowmen. I let the wood do the talking, and if you get some figure on there, you see something will come out that looks like a face, so I don't have to draw on it.
How are those glued together?
Just tight bond glue. So I'm going to start out. I got to put a tenon on this thing, so I've just marked my centers here. I'm going to draw where my tenon's going to be. Well, I'm just going to round this thing up here. Close. And with these carbide bits, or even with just a regular, I don't know what you call this, a parting tool. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's not really a badan because it's pointed, but it's when you're going to cut into the side like that, you don't just plunge her straight in. You come up on top here and you kind of peel it away. And I just lift my hand up, and I'm going to leave a little bit of that pencil mark. And then I want my tenon to be just a little bigger than normal, because I'm going to be offsetting that, so I want to be able to rock it in the jaws without it coming out. Okay, I got to round this up the rest of the way here. Got quite a flat spot right there. Oops. feels something, but I don't know if it's a flat spot or if it's just a soft spot. And it's just a soft spot and probably that hole there. So this is good enough. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some marks on the end of the hat here, on the top of the hat that I'm going to use for how I'm going to adjust this, for offsetting this. Let me get a point tool here. So I'm going to put a mark here, kind of close. And then we'll put another mark a little farther. And we'll put another one way out here. So those are how far I'm going to offset this as I'm working on it. So I'm going to now, I want to divide this into 3 sections. Doesn't have to be exact. Just so those are my three sections here. I'm going to number those just so I can keep track of them, because I'll be going back and forth to these a couple of times, and it helps to know which one you're going back to. So I'm going 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to start out and I'm going to establish my bottom on number 1, the first section, because I want him to be straight on the bottom, and then he'll start going offset as we move up. And I want to establish where the bottom of my snowman is going to be. It's going to be about right there. So I'm making a cut here, but I don't want to go deeper than what my jaws are, because I'm going to be tilting this, and I don't want to break off this little piece, my bottom piece. So I'm going to go just a little bit bigger than that. Wrong one. And I'm going to be using my detail gouge for most of this work. Probably my favorite tool for spindle work. So I'm going to just somewhat get the bottom here. But I'm not going to spend too much time on it, because when I'm all done, I'll round that all off. But right now, I just want to get an idea where it's going to be. And another thing I want to do is I want to section this off. So my head is going to be about that big. These next 3 pieces are all, normally if I did a snowman, I would have a big, a smaller, and then a small for the head. But because of the off-centering, I have to make all 3 of these bottom ones about the same size, so that I can keep them, so I have room to angle them and not make them turn into a V. So I'm going to make 3 of those, and they're going to be about that big. And then that'll be my head. So I want to round off about half of the bottom one, and I'm pretty much there. So that's how far I'm going to go on that for now. So now we're going to start offsetting this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to where my number 1 is. Got that? Here's number 1. And I'm going to go quite a ways out, because the bottom one, if you don't go very far out, you can't tell that you've offset it. I think this one is a good example of that. It's a little offset, but it's hard to tell. This one, I offset it quite a bit. And if you tilt that a little bit, you'd be able to see that the bottom one is quite a ways offset. But the lower you are on your turning, the more you got to swing this out to make an effect. So I'm going to go number 1, and I'm going to go not on that groove, but like right above the number 1, or right on it. So then I can tighten this back up. I'm on the outside ring, the 3rd ring. I'm kind of between the 2nd and the 3rd. You know, I'm not going to go right in these rings. They're just kind of for reference, so I can tell where I'm at. But I'm in between them. So now I'm going to make sure I get all these nice and tight, because Steve didn't bring his catcher's mitt, and so. And I'm going to tighten this up. So there we have our first offset. So I'm going to line this up to the far set. If you look at the top view, you can see that my tool rest I'm going to line up with that outside. What speed am I turning this at? I'm going to turn this at the fastest I can without getting too much vibration. Speed is my friend. So, and I don't want to hit the lathe there, so. I'm going to tell you in a second here. And I know if I was at home, my lathe is bolted to the floor. I can go really fast. But here, this lathe is not. So we're going to start and work it up. So. See, right there is pretty good. That's 1,100 RPMs. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this parting tool, which is like a 1/4-inch parting tool, and I'm going to go in on this line. I can see the line there. You can see the line. I'm going to go in all the way to the point where I'm past the shadow and I'm into the core, into the meat of the piece. Okay, this is not very tight. Okay, now I'm into the meat. So I'm into solid wood. And now I'm going to turn this V from both sides. What did you mean by going until the shadow is gone? From here can you see the shadow? If you look down, you can see like the outside here. The ghost. Yeah, the ghost. But you look inside there, you can see like a solid core. Because our video can't keep up with this, I actually can see it really good on the camera. But that my monitor there doesn't show it very well. I guess that one kind of shows it. But you can see on the bottom there where it's solid. That's what I went to. I went to where I'm past the ghost part and I'm into the solid wood. So now I'm going to turn these 2 V's into it. And I'm going to go about halfway, because the other half is going to be going to the next V. I don't want to get into here very deep, because when I go to the next one, I'm not looking at it. It won't look like I have much to work with. So I'm going to try and blend this just a little bit. So let's see what we got. So here's our first one. I'm offset this way. Can you, yeah. Yeah, you can see there's a lot here on this side. There's a little on this side. So we're already coming this way with it. So now I want to come back and I want to blend this just a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the middle. And it looks like I could have gone a little farther here because I got quite a bit of I got a lot of flat spot here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm a little ahead of myself. Let's get back. So I'm going to go back to number 1 and my indent I made right there. And what I want to do is I got a big flat spot here. If you look at the top screen, you can see right here, there's a whole area where my two halves didn't quite meet. So you can kind of see it out here on the outside here now. This big flat spot. I don't want that much of a flat spot. I'm going to tighten that up a little bit. (1,300 RPMs). We've taken off a little bit of meat so we can speed it up a little bit. And what I'm going to do right now also, I'm going to sand that. But when I come back, I don't have to sand that later. .150 sandpaper. And if I was at home doing this, I'd go all the way to 220. Let's see, I want to back this up. So right now I'm just going to 150. Okay, let's get back to our first spot here and see what this looks like. That doesn't look too bad. As a matter of fact, I am just going to sand that a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to go around and I want to take off any sharp spots there. I want it all be kind of rounded. So just quick take them off. You know, these tend to get a little lumpy when I'm all done. There'll be marks where it's not quite sanded perfectly round, because I thought about calling them a lumpy snowman, but I really like dysfunctional better. So I'm just taking off the flat spots, and I think that's pretty good right there. Did my mic stop? Yeah. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay. All right, I'm back on. So this is pretty good. I just want to get it kind of round, and that's good. So we're going to move on now to our next station. So let's go to, now we're going to go to number 2. And then when number 2, I'm going to cut this V both ways. And then number 3, I'm going to cut this V. So that's how I'm working along here. And 2, I'm going to go almost as much as I did 1. Maybe just a little less than 1. Because I still want it to move. And if you wanted it like these, so my offset is going kind of round circular. So it doesn't matter how you look at it, at least 2 of them are offset. If you are not really concerned with the whole round thing, you could just go back and forth on one line. And make so when you look at it straight, it goes this way and then it comes back this way. But if you turned it sideways, it would look straight because you would have just one line for it. It would be more like 2D instead of 3D. So I do this 3D like this, 3 stations. That way it doesn't matter which way you turn at, it looks offset. So John Marquardt, did you have a question? I see some chuckling going on in the front row. Watch out, I'm watching you guys. So make sure this is tight. And once again, I'm going to line up to my offset. And then I'm going to work on this. So let's get it close. Right there. Make sure everything's tight. Start all over again on my speed. And once again, we're up to about, oh, look at that, 1,200, 1,300. I like that. So now I'm going to cut in there to solid wood again. And there's solid wood. You can, everything stops jumping when you get there. So now I can come with my detail gouge and cut my next 2 grooves. So let's start here. I don't want to go too deep here because I can already see on my shadow there. It's hard to see on that screen. Can you see there? At the bottom V, there's not a whole lot of meat connecting it. So and this is going to be less shed on this one if I go too deep here. But I got to clean out my mess. Okay, so now I'm going to, I got a lot of rounding here to do. Try to round without going deep. And because I do want this to be smaller than this one. And right now it's a little bigger. So I'm going to just take some of this off. And then I'm going to round this back up again. And now I'm going to go back to my last position and take some of that off. No, I'm going back to number 2. Number 1 is this one. Number 1 is this one. This is number 2. Or no, no, I'm going back to number 1. Hang on, I can put it in there and see. Yeah, I'm going back to number 1 because I want to take off this, which was our first joint. Forgot which one I'm working on here. Maybe that'll stay there. So now I'm going to have to sand that again. I got a really punky spot here going right through the wood. Trying to take off that sharp edge. And around it a little bit. I can almost live with that. If you look at any one of these individually, I mean, this kind of looks a lot like the second one there. Individually, they don't look so good, but as a whole, it works. Got a flat spot there. All right, let's go back to number 2 here. Back on number 2, which is this joint. So I should be able to sand both of those and clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up. I think that's good. Okay, now we're going to work on the piece below the head. So I'm going to number 3. And I'm going to not quite go as far. I'm going to stay like maybe right. The 2 was on the line. 2 was on this line, so my 3 I'm going to go slightly inside that line. Like maybe right there. Not quite as far. Find my outside edge right there. So now with this one, I'm going to kind of look at how big I want the head to be. My outside line, I have like a 1/4 inch difference between the outside line and the inside when I'm looking in there. So I want to come in here and I want to make sure I have room for the head. So I got a smaller one I'm going to cut this with. Okay. All right, let's see what we can get up to here. Once again, speed is my friend. So, see if I can get a better cut through that punky area. Okay, I'm going to go back to my last spot now. Back to number 2, because we're on 3, right? That was 3. Number 2 is way up here. Back to 2, because I want to get some of this off there. And I might make this just a little smaller there. I don't know. Seems a little thick here. Well, I'm going to sand this, and then I'm going to go back to number 3. A lot of going back and forth here. Got quite the punky spot there. And I got this big punky spot here, and it's right where the head's going to be. Oh, well. so now let's go on back to 3, which was right there. So let's see, what do I want to do here? I want to get rid of this. Got some fluffy stuff in there I need to get rid of. I might make this just a little smaller because right now the neck is way bigger than his head's going to be. Okay, now we're up to the head. So now I have a choice to make. I could go back to straight, which is going to put his head on, go overhead. If I go straight, the center of this, his head is not going to be very big because it's got to go, I got to work off the center of this. So what I'm going to do, thank you, Rich. I'm going to put this between centers to turn the head. That's the wrong one. So, yeah, it's a faster way than, it's safe, it's in there good. So I'm going to eyeball this. If my head's going to be right here, so that means I need to be offset there, and I need my top to come in. So my top is going to be, I'm just kind of like visualizing a straight line from my spindle to the top here, which is going to have to be offset about that much, I think. Maybe right there. He's going to be just a little crooked still.
So you're a little bit crooked opposite ends of your axis?
Yeah, I'm offset down here now. I don't think I need to be that far off, though. Let's get just a little bit back there. We're offset just a little bit on the bottom. Now that looks pretty straight. If I'm looking from right here is my center to the center right here, that means his head's going to be up here, and the hat will be just inside that area. So I think that'll work. Yeah, I'm lining up where I want my head to be, because if I came back this way, I'm confined to how big this neck part is, and the head might not look right. So if I go this way, though, I think I'll be able to get like a regular, what looks like a normal head on this guy. Like right there, I think. So where did I end up at here? Am I in one of the earlier spots? No, I'm just below my 3. Okay, just so I know where I'm at. I could just go back to 3. Will that work? Yeah, I want to go in from 3 a little bit. So we're in from 3 a half a notch, right there. It's a little offset still. His head's going to be coming back a little bit. No, his head's going to be coming this way. Still be coming this way farther, because this will be the center of it. So this is coming back, then his head's going to come back just a little more. Got it? Okay, let's start this again and see what we got. So now let's see, I'm swinging the whole thing, top and bottom. Put my shield down here. I'm worried about this end. So I'm gonna cut the top of the head first, right along the hat, into the meat, and then from there I'll cut the head. So. We'll do that for now. And now I'm cutting the whole thing, because we're not going to offset the top, so we can get the whole head in here. Let's see how things are looking here. Oh yeah, it looks like a head, a little big yet. It looks like big head Todd in the Snowman. So let me see if I can bring that down a little bit more. I don't want to cut too much on this edge because, well, I'm somewhat on the same plane, so maybe I could cut that, I guess, a little bit. But also, I don't have to worry about this joint because there's going to be a scarf there covering that. So I don't have to get that perfect. So now how does his head look? His head looks a little big yet, I think. So let's do a good job on that because it's hard to get in there with sandpaper. So, okay. Now it's starting to look like a snowman, a dysfunctional snowman. So let's see, I can sand that afterwards. Okay, now we're up to the hat. I'm going to leave it in this plane right now for the bottom of the hat, but I'm going to offset the hat too. So, but I need to get this kind of round. So. I'm not going to turn this top part now because that's going to be where my last turning is going to be. And I don't know how much to take off from that. So I just want to get this around. I got a big flat spot I need to get out of there. That'll do. So I'm going to make the brim. And I'm going to do this straight. I think that could be a little smaller. Of course, you could put a band on there if you wanted a band, or you could burn that. But I'm just doing a straight hat. Yeah, let's use my skew to cut these edges of that hat. I don't want to have to sand those, and this is the best way to cut end grain. Okay, there's the bottom of our hat. Now let's do something with the top. So I'm going to still leave my bottom here now. I'm not going to go back to the chalk. I'm just going to go this way a little bit. So now we're bringing the hat back the other way. I just picked a spot. I'm kind of close to center. I'm really close to center right now. I got holes all over there now, so from the last two joints. So I'm going to come down now and I'm going to round this out and then we'll blend it up. Get back here a little bit. So now what I need to do, I need to turn this top part the same diameter as this. So I'm going to kind of blend that though. Well, I think I can just go right in there. So looking at the end here, I think this needs to be about maybe there. I think this looks close to that, so maybe a little more. I think I need to go back now. Always do this last because now I've turned off all my other points. So now, if I can figure out where I was for that, I think there's the bottom of the hat, right? Does that look right? Yeah, there's the bottom of the hat. So now we're going to blend these. Not where I turned that. Trying to get back the spot where I turned that hat. I need my eyeballs here. How about that one? That looks like it. Okay, there goes all my marks, so no more going back. See what I do in my skew. Here it is. Cut the top here. Yep, I didn't think to sand that part well. I didn't think to sand that part while I was at the other chuck. Or to do my brim. There you go. In the end, it all worked out. Doesn't look like it.